Hey y'all, grand rising, good afternoon, good evening, baby. Whatever time you click onto this video is the right time for you, and I thank you in advance for your viewership and support. Warning in advance, I'm going to do a little commentary before I get into the reading because I want to make sure that everybody is abreast of what's currently happening right now as far as the legal team for the Robinson family, which consists of Benjamin Crump, Esquire, and SueAnn Robinson, no relation to the family, Esquire. And SueAnn Robinson decided to do a fact-finding mission in Mexico to get to the bottom of what actually happened during the visit that turned tragic for Shanquella Robinson. So if you've been following me for a while and you've been supporting my Cabo 6 series, you will know that I have been doing readings on this for, I want to say, like the past 3.5 months. So there's a lot of things that I said that are just now coming to fruition, like in what I was able to see spiritually. I've always said that she was attacked by multiple people, not just by what we saw in the video. The family is now alleging that all 3 of the women that were on the trip outside of Shanquella were a part of a brutal attack that has just been announced in the last few weeks. There has been questions about Nasir Wiggins' arrival time that are really being challenged right now, and have been, low-key people have challenged it since the beginning, but now people are really delving into when did he actually get there. And things are not quite adding up the way that he said, things were. So that's been a huge red flag where people are trying to figure out what time did he actually get there, how much did he witness, and on the back end, how much has he been a part of with hiding what happened. So fast forward, the reason we're here today, because I had already started this reading, I want to say on Thursday, and I kept getting phone calls, my bad, my fault, because I forgot to put my phone on Do Not Disturb. So I was constantly being disturbed, and then I had people pop up. I had somebody pop up at my house, and I didn't want to give a distracted reading. So I'm back today to focus. And as you can see, the landscape has changed. If you've been with me for a minute, the big table that I usually read on, that is no longer here in this space, but I'm also in the middle of putting together my basement office. So, we're going to keep it a little impersonal today. So, as always, I'm up first thing in the morning, kicking it with y'all in my PJs. And usually after I do my readings, I get my morning cup of tea. So we're going to spill a little tea in this reading before I get my morning cup of tea. And today's reading is going to be dedicated to the concierge for Villa Linda 32. Well, just for the travel agency in general. The Villa Linda Travel Agency. I hope I'm saying that right. Now, I've already read the service worker, Miss Lucy, and it was more than evident to me what I saw spiritually that Miss Lucy was not fooled by the Cabo 6. She knew that the story that they had given was not an honest depiction of what happened. And had it not been for Miss Lucy actually seeing Quella first, in my deduction, I believe that they were going to leave her there anyway. They had to come up with a story because, it was a situation that turned into another situation and they didn't know what to do. I honestly do believe that they meant to harm Shanquella. They didn't mean to kill her. And even with that, that was stupid because you all had to come back home. You're going to face retribution one way or the other once you came back home. Now, before I get into this reading, I want to touch on a few things that were in the concierge statement, and then I'm going to read the concierge. So here it is. The concierge made a very detailed statement. Actually, the administrator of the company and the concierge, honey, they knocked this out the park. The administrator's statement solidified the timing of the video that went viral, where we got to see the horrible wildebeest, Dejanay, attacking Shanquella, even though she didn't want to fight. And by the statements of the administrator is letting us know that this had to be between 7:30 to 8 a.m. This administrator stated that they are often in this villa as they are in other properties, and they know that this is the time of sunrise, not just because of what is listed in, the almanacs, things you can look up online, but because they actually are in these homes quite readily. And there had to be wooden panels installed in this room in particular because the sunlight was so bright coming into the windows of this property that it was disturbing to the guest. So that was a very, very great clue. Now, when we get to the concierge, honey, the concierge, listen, I wish I could sit down and have a nice glass of red wine or a double shot of bourbon with 1 cube of ice with you, honey, because I know for everything that you said, there's so much that you didn't, because it could be considered hearsay or conjecture. But this concierge had a great attention to detail, okay? And we learned from this concierge that Dejanay was the main person that was in contact with him. This is the person who organized everything. And according to Dejanay, her and her travel companions were running behind due to, I believe, weather issues that delayed the flight. And then they had the concierge to send them transportation, and they went shopping. And they told the concierge that they would be at the property around 8 o'clock. So this concierge states that when he got to the home, he was surprised because you had the chef and you had the server, you had the service staff there. But to his surprise, there were 2 people that were already there, and he had no idea anyone was in the house. Now, he distinctively told us that he had words with the gentleman, spoke with him. The gentleman questioned him because he wanted to know who he was, which I thought was very interesting because, you're not even the one who booked this travel arrangement. So for you to be the one asking questions, but you're here before the person who is the host of this event. I won't say it's not a normal question, because if somebody comes into the house, you don't know them. Yeah, you want to know who it is, but you're at like a Airbnb, right? So chances are this is not a random person just walking in the house. And if the staff knows who this person is, chances are they work for the company, right? So fast forward, he solidifies that there were 2 people there and they were assumed to be a couple before Dejanay and her guest arrived, right? And they had been there hours before she got there. He described this gentleman as being between 25 to 30 years of age and being of slim build. So first thing first, we know from his depiction that there is an extra person that was there that the Cabo Six are not accounting for on Friday, the day of arrival, right? So when Dejanay and her party guest arrived, it was 5 of them in tow. He said that, excuse me, there was a light-skinned mixed race person who appeared to be Latina, so we know that that's Winter. There's only one person that fit that description. He said that there was a slim young man who had dreads. We also know that there's only one person whose hair remotely fit that description, which was Malik Dwyer. He described Dejanay as someone who was of, I hope I'm saying this right. He said of sturdy build with a thick voice. Honey, that right there almost made me roll off my couch, because that description needed no help. I don't think anybody was confused about that one. And then there was another female and 2 gentlemen. Okay, there were 2 young men that were with her. Now, he didn't give a description to the second young man. As to me, that was as descriptive as the first. But what I will say is he described the gentleman who was already there and the one with the dreads to be of slim build. Now, we know Khalil has, eaten his fair share of snacks. Not to say that he's fat, but he is of a larger build than both the other young men who were on the trip. So it makes sense to me that that could have been Khalil, or we need to understand who the person was that was in the house when he got there, because that would mean that all 7 parties were either there the night of arrival, or there could have possibly been an 8th person if someone arrived late, which would be the following day, Saturday, as Nasir claimed he arrived late, right? So I'm going to wrap it up here and then go off into the reading. I noticed that the concierge, when he spoke of Dejanay texting for medical help and requesting that a doctor who was bilingual, someone who could speak English, come to assist, he's stating that she was the one who made the initial contact, and she was the one who kind of put the seedling of an idea of alcohol poisoning into effect with that first contact. So remember that. That's very important. On top of that, he stated that he contacted medical professionals to come. Now, mind you, she contacted him at, like, I want to say 1:56. I believe that's what it said in the timeline, which is almost 2 hours after Miss Lucy had come to the villa to do her job and clean, right? So you sat there for 2 whole hours before you text anybody about this young lady needing help. Let's remember that, because usually in a hotel or a villa type setting, everyone knows that the cleaning staff usually comes around noon. A little earlier, a little later, but they're always usually around noon. Last but not least, definitely not least, because he also let us know that, once it was known that Shanquella had perished, she was no longer with us, that he was contacted because there were security guards at the entrance of this community, right? and they wanted to know if he had contacted an ambulance and if they could, okay them to come through, because they were not aware that someone needed an ambulance. Now, this concierge never said that there was a new arrival on Saturday in the midst of all this melee. Never once did he say a new person arrived while they were trying to get help for Shanquella. Sometimes it's not what people say. You got to pay attention to the things that are not being said. I found that to be very interesting. He stated that he gave a hug of condolence to Dejanay, and she was very indifferent and cold when she hugged him back. It didn't feel sincere. He said that he wanted to leave to give them, the chance to grieve and to go through this, hard time without pretty much encroaching on their space. And when he gets ready to leave, he hears laughing. Okay? Everybody's laughing. So how do you go from crying to laughing? And this is just, I'm paraphrasing what was said because he was very detailed. He gave a very detailed timeline. And for me, he answered a lot of questions that we did have. He let it be known that there was a thick tension in the room that night for dinner, because he could tell that something had happened, because Quella seemed to be out of place with this group. She seemed to be upset about something, and she was the last to arrive to the dinner table. So we need to know what was the possible problem, what was the discussion or possible argument that transpired before they even got to dinner, because that means that if Dejanay and her party did not arrive until around 8 o'clock, and they had to go ahead and eat because they would have to pay the chef and the staff that were there for dinner for an extra hour, that means that something happened shortly after these people got there. They weren't even in the house good before there was drama. So what was the drama? Because we at home, we saw that video where we saw that Quella was being what appeared to be ignored, and she was being separated from the group. And we picked up on that people were very perceptive in noticing how they were mistreating her. What transpired between videos to the dinner table that made Quella know that she wasn't welcome here? That needs to be discovered. And we won't discover that until they bring people in for questioning. But I keep telling you, I have faith. It's going to happen. So here we are, finally. Thank you for your patience. Whomever listened to my commentary to this point, the reading is starting at 18 minutes and 18 seconds. And I'm going to timestamp this and put this in my description, so if anybody wants to skip this, you know where to go. So show me, spirit guides, angels, and ancestors, show me the energy for the concierge. What did he ascertain when he first met this group? What was the vibe when he first got there? And those two people were there that he was surprised about. Matter of fact, that's an even better question. What was the vibe when he got there and found out that there were already two people at the house? Okay, so we've got 8 of Pentacles and the 2 of Swords. Okay, so this was working, or something he was working on had to come to an end. Okay, so possibly what this feels like to me is he was coming to set things up, to get things together, to make sure that everybody was in proper alignment. Okay, and whatever he needed to say to his staff came to an end, because remember, we said that there were two people that were there already. So you see this, even though we know this is a card of choice, you see this person is walking up and they're like, wait a minute, light coming down, illuminating these two people. So he had to reroute whatever he was going to do with his service because he didn't know anyone was there already. So this is confirming that he was shocked that there were people there because he was not told that people would be arriving separately. Interesting. Wait a minute. Okay, so we got the Lovers and we have the Four of Wands. Remember, they said they assumed that this was a couple, right? So there's the Lovers, Four of Wands. Four of Wands is like the card of engagement, marriage, family stability, okay? Possibly newlyweds. So they felt like, so this authority figure, who would be the person who's running point, the concierge, okay? Shit, let me, I'm trying not to cuss y'all. YouTube messing with folks like me. They don't understand the seasoning to my conversation. So as you can see, the Emperor and the Ace of Swords, which means this authority figure believed this to be true, okay? So that's very interesting because he did say that they assumed that these people were in a relationship, that this was a couple that was there. So we need more information on why they assumed that this was a couple and who is this mystery man. Because remember, Concierge never said anything about a late arrival on Saturday. I really, really believe that you don't forget things like that because people just don't die on your job or at the job every day. And, you know, I've worked in hospitality and the hotel industry for decades, okay? And I can tell you, yes, people do pass in hotels, but it is not a daily occurrence that somebody finds somebody, you know, deceased at work. So I don't think with something that traumatic that you would have, you know, forget a fact that big. But let's keep going. Baby. Now, before I pick those up, you see this? Ten of Swords. Person stabbed in the back, person betrayed, person who was set up, right? Let's see. Like the concierge, baby. He with them shits, okay? He's going to say what needs to be said. So we've got forward movement, expansion, passionately moving forward to get things situated. So being that that's falling under the Eight of Pentacles, this is like he was trying to rush and get everything together, okay? Swift, fast, in a hurry, Eight of Wands. But that came to an end once he ran into the people that they considered the Lovers. Okay, Seven of Swords. That's interesting that that falls under the Lovers because that would mean that somebody feels like, what the heck is going on here? There's like some trickery, something, you know, should I have been made abreast of something? Like, who are these people? Are they supposed to be here? Why didn't someone tell me these people were going to be here, right? So he felt slighted even with that because this feels like he was not told that there would be anybody arriving outside of Dejanay. Dejanay gives me the energy of someone who can be domineering. So yeah, that would have thrown me off too if I'm awaiting a group and nobody tells me that certain parties in the group are going to be early. When you work in hospitality, you help to set up events and things of that nature. Timing is everything. Just a little something can throw things off and mess up the whole entire situation that you thought you had underway. So we've got the Temperance card falling under the Four of Wands, which is okay. You know, he was able to regain control of the situation. And now that, you know, he knows who these people are, because remember, they thought these were a couple. Okay, they thought these people were a couple. So now that he's addressed this couple, there's balance. Because remember, he didn't know that people were supposed to already be there. And this, I'm seeing, you know, what I'm seeing spiritually, this is an honest account. He had no idea who these people were. He had no idea that people were in the house. So, you know, to know that they had been there for a few hours, it's like, what the heck is going on, right? And then you see this Ten of Swords, which is the card of setup and betrayal. So that's letting me know that the woman who he didn't get a chance to talk to, who was a part of what they assumed to be a couple, is the person that was betrayed, the person who was set up, the person who was left behind, which is Quilla, right? Quilla had already gotten there. She gotten there separate from the person who planned this, which would be Dejanay. We know from his witness statement that Shanquella did not arrive with Dejanay. So, you know, proper deduction. That was her that was already there. He had no idea who she was because she's not the one who made the booking, right? So we got the Seven of Pentacles, and it's falling under the Emperor. So this is like Seven of Pentacles is the card of sowing seeds for a better harvest. Okay, so he was trying to be accommodating to make sure that this was a fruitful experience for everyone who was involved. Looks like really good customer service. And then boom. You see this? Listen, I like this concierge energy. Hey, boo, hey. You see this? He's letting it be known that this person was set up and left behind. These people move forward towards victory, which all supports his claims and what he put in his statement with Attorney SueAnn Robinson. So I don't see anywhere where the concierge is not being forthright. Everything that he's saying is being supported by the energy that I'm getting from this reading. So once again, these are the things that can be substantiated that he's saying, okay? So he makes a very great character witness. We have to pay very close attention to what he said in the beginning with the two people that were already there. I'm telling you guys, he's letting it be known that to his knowledge, everybody arrived on Friday. There was 7 guests there on the date of arrival. This man never mentions Nasir coming in late in the middle of all of this. Now remember, Nasir is saying that he got there after 3, right? 3:30. That could not be true because it doesn't line up with the death certificate when the doctor stated that she declared her deceased. Because that would mean he would have gotten there after everybody got there to help with the rescue effort. And he wouldn't have gotten to play Summer Walker and play in her hair, as he said, if they were trying to administer aid. He had to be there before the doctor. And according to the documents, the doctor was there before 3. So yes, Nasir does not have his timeline correct. And once again, if you've been following me since the beginning, I told y'all in my second reading for Nasir that Nasir was not forthright. He was not honest about when he got there. Interesting enough is 3 months later, And we have the concierge giving his statement, letting it be known that 7 people were there on Friday. Never once does this man say anybody showed up late on Saturday. I'm pretty sure you would know in the middle of something like that, that somebody just walked in with their bags all ready to party, and oh wow, what's happening here? That would really be a huge thing, right? I don't think anybody would be that distraught that you wouldn't see somebody just bopping through the room who wasn't there before. You would know that this is a new person, because the concierge is who checks everybody in. The administrator and the concierge would be the ones who would, sign everybody in, make sure everybody is everybody and everybody is accounted for. And I did have someone in my Nasir Where Were You reading make a comment months ago that stated that there was a YouTuber who, I guess they slowed down the footage from dinner, and they claimed that they could see Nasir outside, poolside, taking pictures in the background while everybody was eating. Now, I have not seen that footage, but I don't doubt that it exists. But it lets it be known that something was happening on Friday night where people wanted to, move a little different with the footage. Outside of what we saw for Quella, we didn't see anybody taking in the landscape, anybody really showing videos of enjoying themselves. And there's been rumors that there were fake Shanquella Robinson pages, and a particular page where her videos were uploaded. People are saying that Khalil actually was the one who started that page. So not only were you a part of the horrible event that happened to her, you're also a part of this pile up to cover up evidence, because we got to remember things were erased from her phone. So here's a question, guys. If he made a false page to upload things to make it look like this was her actual information that was being uploaded, did he ever have Quella's phone in the first place? Or were they secretly recording her from their own phones and then uploading to, this dummy account without her knowledge? Let me ask a couple more questions, and then I'm going to wrap this up because I don't want this to be too long. But I want to say to the Villa Linda staff, thank you for being forthright and telling the truth, because without Miss Lucy letting us know that she found Shanquella naked and in the bathroom, we would not know how many different places her body was throughout the villa until she received medical aid. We would not have known that she was not dressed when she found her. I mean, we knew she was unclothed in the video, but we wouldn't have known that she was undressed. So once again, who dressed her? Who all took part in moving her? Whose clothes were those? Were those Quella's clothes, or were those clothes that somebody else had? Because they said that the shirt was a large. Now, Quella, very tiny girl, very cute, petite young lady. I find it hard to believe that she's buying large shirts, especially when, she has such a nice figure. I'm around, a size between a 14 to a 16. I comfortably buy larges because those fit my size. So I don't see someone small like her buying anything above a medium. But that's just a thought on the top of my head. Nasir, were you the seventh mystery person that was there on Friday? Are you the seventh mystery person that was there on Friday? You see this? That's the sun. That means something is being illuminated. Once the sun comes out, this is also a happy card because whatever is being illuminated can be hidden no more. Okay? Now, this is allegedly because, hey, you can't prove that anything that I am saying is law. Remember, this reading is for entertainment purposes only, right? So what this is looking like, allegedly, this is why he's so defensive. Seven of Wands. So once again, when did you actually get there, Nasir? What time did you actually arrive, Nasir? Nazir, excuse me, there's a Z in there. When did you actually arrive? If you've been with me for a while, you know I don't just read what hits the table. I read as I shuffle. So pay attention, y'all. Okay? Pay attention. Because I want you to see this as I saw it. We've got Nine of Swords, which is the card of no rest for the wicked, no rest for the weary, heavy mental anxiety, right? Up under that, we have the Magician, which means there's trickery. You're trying to redirect people. When you came through Knight of Swords with your message. Because what? 10 of Wands, 9 of Cups, Queen of Cups, 7 of Cups. So this is letting it be known that this is like the weight of the world is on your shoulders, right? Over this wish fulfillment that happened to this loving person, this perceptive person, this 9 of Cups, 7 of Cups. Due to, you know, not just people considering their options, but that's overconsumption. Because 7 of Cups is also the card of consumption. And we also were told by the staff that they were drinking heavily. Now notice, in the autopsy, once Quilla's family got to find out what really happened to her, we find out that there was no alcohol in her system. We find out from both of her parents that that was a red flag, that they said alcohol poisoning because Quilla was not a drinker. And what I felt psychically is that she was a smoker. Okay? So he's being defensive. Look at what came out. You see, we just turned this over. Ace of Cups in reverse. She rejected your cup, Nasir. Allegedly. She rejected your little raggedy cup. So you may not have minded what happened to her because you didn't get your way. And that's the real reason why 7 of Wands on this table, you're being defensive. Allegedly. Notice how it gets to him, all the cards want to come out face down. And we just talked about wish fulfillment, right? 9 of Cups. It was a wish fulfillment for you to, you know, get next to her, possibly warm her up, get her to be more receptive about coming on this trip. You and, it makes sense. You and Khalil both knew her the longest, right? You met her in high school. Khalil met her in college. Khalil was supposed to be the best friend. This situation put the weight of the world on your shoulders. 10 of Wands. Now, if you've been following my other readings, I've been saying for the longest that not only were these people jealous, a lot of these people had financial issues. and she was going to be a lick, okay? A lick means that she was marked for someone to remove her of certain things, possibly her wealth, um, certain luxury items, okay? Allegedly. Queen of Swords at the bottom of the deck. That means she was honest and forthright in her communication. And some of y'all was butthurt. Y'all couldn't take it. Y'all felt like she had a smart ass mouth, right? And I've picked up on that in the past. Somebody didn't like that, you know, she was sure of herself and she was assertive. Sadly, it's not her fault that you don't like yourself or you have self-esteem issues or whatever, fill in the blanks. Nasir. We know this is the card of Big D energy. This is the eggplant card, right? And this is the card of pure unbridled passion. Now, I don't know about what you're working with. Nothing about you excites me. But look at this. Okay? Ten of Swords. So this lets me know, allegedly, you had the hots for the person who was set up and betrayed. And you know who put this together, Three of Cups. This was a celebratory moment, and it was a collaboration between three people in particular. But the rest of you are not innocent because you knew. You guys had heard the cook up to what was going to happen and nobody stopped it. And this is the real reason, once again, because this falls under the Seven of Wands. This is the real reason why you're so defensive. Everything in the dark comes out to light. And you see that? That's the Hangman. So I'm going to tap out of Nasir's dusty energy because I don't want that type of energy in my life today. I had no plans of reading any of the Dusty Six, but I really did like this reading with the Concierge because what I'm seeing spiritually is that he spoke the truth, nothing but the truth, and there was a lot more that could have been said, but they kept it cute because they spoke on only what could be used in court. So just imagine the juice that this Concierge has that hasn't been spoken on, honey. Alrighty, let's get ready to go ahead and wrap this up. See this at the bottom of the deck? I told y'all he felt swindled, okay? He felt like these people finagled him. The thief. See how this one is distracting him while this one is pickpocketing him? He felt like they ran game on him. They did a rope-a-dope on him, okay? You kept him busy while these other people did whatever they needed to do in the background. And here he is, well-dressed man, oblivious to all this trickery going on behind him. Okay, on the distant horizon, okay? And this is also a ship coming from abroad. Pathway. Pathway to what? Okay, you see this? So on the distant horizon, they're going to be able to show in depth how you guys swindled your way out of the country back into America. So people, I know that this is taking way longer than we feel like it should. Concern, bad health, okay? So he really was concerned about Shanquella when they told him that she was under the weather, okay? This is a sincere gentleman from everything that I'm seeing. He's trustworthy in what he's saying. Okay, this pathway. He really was hurt and concerned about what was going on. And they used his concern against him, and he didn't even know it. See this afterwards? Got a message of concern. So this is letting it be known that after everything was all said and done, he was finagled. He got the message of concern after the pathway. They took a pathway to somewhere else. And now he's concerned because he's like, wait a minute, what do you mean they left? Got another message. They didn't just leave, they're out of the country. So everything that this man has been saying is being confirmed in my cards. I don't see a lie yet. Now this is interesting. Remember I said this man got the juice, but he can only speak on what can be proven. Now, allegedly, it could be something that was understood, don't need to be spoken. Now, I can't say for sure that this man feels this way because he didn't put this in the documentation. But I can say psychically, because I am a medium, that this is the bottom line understanding of how they got home. You see that one hand exchanging a gold coin with another? Okay? But look at this. This couldn't have ended on a better note. You see that? Adjudication. That's going before the judge and toil and labor. Hell, even Mexico can't wait for y'all to go to jail in Mexico. This is one of the most beautiful things to come out of this, how we all have become extended family. And it's not out of hatred. It's out of the love of an innocent person that did not deserve to be treated this way. So I will say, out of me covering this case, no matter how emotional it gets for me, because I get to see things that most people don't, these are the moments that help me to push through this case. When I see the few people who had humanity, who really cared, who really tried to help. The people who were not involved, who got pulled into this, and I can see where they really grieved. They really wept over the situation, how the situation is still affecting them because they have a heart. And not a one of these scroungy bastards that went on this trip, from what I can see, gave a damn. And none of them care now. All they care about is the impending doom of losing their freedom. Can't wait for you to lose it. Here we go, journey. You see that? Courthouse. So whichever courthouse they end up going to, they're going. So people keep praying, keep putting that energy out into the universe. What'd I just say? Honey, they're going. May not be today, may not be tomorrow, but they're going to go before a high court adjudication. So I feel like that's all we need here. I'm going to end this reading here, and I think I'm going to call this one the Concierge hashtag got the juice. So now I can go ahead and have my morning tea, start my day. I have a few other readings that I want to knock out so that, I can give you guys some content. And once again, just as I requested for Miss Lucy, I am going to ask that if you have it in your heart, please say a prayer for the staff members who really were trying to help, because this changed their lives. These people really did go through a traumatic experience with this situation, because we have to understand this isn't like, being in a area where, they're telling you, hey, this is the dangerous area. This is in a very well-to-do subdivision where wealthy people go. This is like the Calabasas of Mexico. You don't expect to turn on your TV and hear about something brutal like this happening in a place like Calabasas. Not that it can't happen, but it's highly unlikely. So I personally want to thank you. I don't know your name because I didn't see it in the paperwork, and maybe that's best. But I want to thank you personally, Mr. Concierge. And I want to also thank the administrator for helping us to see an honest timeline of what happened so that we can get to the truth and get these monsters off the street. Now, if the United States takes jurisdiction, okay, fine. Either way, they're off the street. But I prefer, and I know most of you would also prefer, that they go back to Mexico where they committed the crime and do the time, no matter how hard the time is. Bless every last one of you. Remember to just be mindful that we are all in this human thing together. Whether we know each other or not, we need to have compassion for one another. And I'm going to close it there. This reading is adjourned. And once again, thank you, Mr. Concierge. Greatly appreciate you. And I can't wait to see what else comes out when they go to a court of law. It would actually be interesting if we can get the chef and the server to give a statement, because remember, they were there for hours with the people that they thought was a couple. But I'm going to end it here and go get my morning tea and possibly figure out what I'm about to eat, because I'm thick for a reason, not just a season, honey. I'm hungry. Bless you all, and thank you for your watching, your viewership, your support.